program is designed to appeal to an array of types of student. Obviously, it will appeal to somebody who has either worked in education as a teacher or an education researcher, but it also appeals to people who have a broader interest in education issues. So a number of the students on the MA education would not in fact be classroom teachers, but they might be interested in education leadership, in education policy. They might be interested in becoming a full-time education researcher, or they might be interested in reading around an area that is new to them. So it really is a broad program that appeals to quite an array of types of student. Well, it's a full-time one-year program. So for our international students, that is often quite an attractive proposition because they can complete the entire MA in 1 year. And it includes taking taught modules, 90 credits of taught modules, and completing a dissertation or thesis. So the 90 credits are gathered across 3 trimesters. And in the first trimester, the student would take 3 10-credit modules. In the second trimester, they would take another 3 10-credit modules. And in the final trimester, they gather their 30 credits through their major study, their thesis or dissertation. I think probably one of the unique and attractive characteristics of the MA in education is that it's truly international in its design, in the content, but also in the student body. It attracts students from all over the world. So in a given year, there will usually be students from the United States of America, India, Pakistan. We would have students from Vietnam and from China. We've had students from Australia and many students from Ireland and parts of Europe. So it can be a very international classroom. And we have modules on it that appeal to people who are very interested in international issues. Modules that examine, for instance, the study of development education or education and the Sustainable Development Goals. And then there are other issues that are examined, including the study of changing policy and practice in digital learning, and also modules in education psychology and child development, in the history of learning and how children learned in the past, and a whole variety of content. But it's the international classroom and the lovely mix of students that I think is its unique characteristic.
So I suppose this programme is suitable for anyone with an interest in children and young people's lives, their development and their rights and their well-being. And so anybody who would like to develop their career or move into a career with children and young people in policy, practice or service development, this course would give them a really good foundation in understanding children's lives and what impacts on children's lives. There's a range of modules available and they all draw on different perspectives and disciplines. So I'll just briefly share my screen to show you those modules. So students take 90 credits of modules throughout the course of over 3 trimesters. We'll have a number of core modules. So children's rights and participation is a core module, along with the research methods modules, which support the students in developing their understanding of doing and reading and using research. And then students can then go on to either do a dissertation or an internship. The optional modules then available can vary from year to year, but these tend to be the ones that are on offer each year. So equalities and social justice, well-being of children and youth, inclusive education, global development education, critical policy analysis, history of childhood and learning, language diversity in schooling, mentoring and leading learning, and psychological development of children and young people. So you can see there's a range of influences and perspectives and interdisciplinary inputs across the programme that really help to create a holistic picture of children and young people's lives. Well, I think it is that our school has a fantastic range of staff coming from diverse and different perspectives and disciplines. And we also then are able to support students through two different pathways, which I'd mentioned, and that's the dissertation and the internship. So for those looking to develop on their research skills, potentially maybe to go into an academic career or further study like a PhD, there is support to conduct research and to produce a research dissertation. And then alternatively, for those who might be interested in gaining hands-on professional experience in working with children and young people, or moving into policy or service development, there is the internship pathway. So through both of those routes, students can gain really useful experience for their career development, and that they're supported through those pathways by our team in UCD School of Education.
Hi everyone, and welcome to UCD School of Education. I am Dr. Gabriela Martinez Sainz. I am the Program Director of the MF in Education. Our MF is a part-time program. It lasts 2 years, and it's designed for those interested in understanding a little bit more issues, policies, and practices related to education, but that perhaps are still working as professional or in full-time employment. So the MF gives them the flexibility to undertake a master's degree while maintaining full-time employment if that's the case. The aims of the program is to enable our students to precisely focus and explore on core issues, on policies and practices in education, to enhance their knowledge base, and understand a little bit better the education system, but not limited or confined to the classroom, but also understanding issues about leadership, inclusion, and educational policies, and so on. So it's a very dynamic program. It's blended in its format, so that means we have both online and on-site activities planned for our students. And I'm going to share with you the structure of the program. So we have, you have to complete in the program 90 credits throughout the 2 years of the studies. So you have to undertake the 2 core modules, and that's Research Methods 1 and Research Methods 2. You have to choose 5 elective modules on areas of leadership, inclusion, and education, and you have to complete a thesis. The idea of having these elective modules allows you to specialize in either one of the pathways that we are offering at the school. So it can be either leadership and inclusion, education in general, or inclusion. Who should be looking at applying for this program? Well, we think that everyone who is intended to or is already familiar with the education system, who is trying to pursue perhaps opportunities in education and leadership, and that might be interested in develop a deeper understanding of issues on education might be interested in this program. We have a range of modules that explore key issues today, including those arising from disability and educational needs, social equalities, linguistic and cultural context for education, and so on. So it's a very dynamic program. We are looking forward to hear from anyone interested in it. All the information is available on the website, and you can also get in touch with me if you're thinking about the MEd as a possible option for you.
We have two PhD programs in the School of Education, and of course the school is predominantly a graduate school with the structured PhD in Education and the structured PhD in Children and Youth Studies. Both programs follow the similar structure, and you can complete them in 3 to 4 years of full-time study, or you can choose to do it 5 to 6 years of part-time study. And that's especially suitable for professionals who are working in the field, for example, of education, who want to combine their advanced research studies with their full-time roles as teachers, for example, or professionals working across the education sector. Both structured PhD programs follow the typical structure of a PhD within UCD, which is on the assumption that it's a 3 to 4 year full-time PhD, includes the predominance of a focus on a research topic of your choice. You will be assigned a principal supervisor or two co-principal supervisors who will work with you alongside your doctoral studies panel, and your doctoral studies panel will typically be comprised of other faculty members within the school who will give you a broader insight and support in relation to your PhD topic. Uniquely within the structured PhD program, you have 30 credits out of the 270 credits that comprises your PhD will be structured support or taught modules, where typically you will do 3 modules that are of 10 credits duration. And those modules are agreed with your principal supervisor that will really build your expertise and knowledge base in relation to your research topic. There is also a research and professional development plan that you will work with your doctoral panel and your supervisor to ensure timely completion of the PhD, because it is an exciting journey, but nonetheless one that has key milestones that you must achieve in order to submit your PhD by the end of year 3 or year 4 if you're progressing with full-time studies. You will also have the opportunity to immerse yourself and gain experience in what we call research and transferable skills. In other words, there is a considerable amount of learning in conducting your PhD journey that's not simply related to the PhD topic itself, but is hugely linked to your own confidence in public expression, your organizational skills, your communication skills, your capacity to network with others who have similar interests in yourselves, and most importantly, to present your ideas in a very clear and coherent way. Who should apply for the PhD in the UCD School of Education? Well, I think fundamentally, if you're passionate about education, or indeed if you're passionate about the rights and equalities and well-being of children and young people, either of those programs would be something I would expect that would be of interest to you. Importantly, this is an advanced research degree. Of the 270 credits, 240 credits are to your research. So you must hold a high master's qualification, which would typically be a first-class honours master's qualification or a 2-1 in a discipline of cognate interest to the PhD. So obviously many of our PhD candidates would have worked directly within the field of education, but not exclusively so. We could also have candidates who have come across issues of educational interest or interest in relation to children and young people in sociology, psychology, social policy, a diverse range of areas that will align with your more distinct focus on education within your PhD in the school. Most importantly, you would consider doing your PhD with us in the School of Education if you wish to work with faculty who have strong records of research or profile in this field. UCD School of Education has an excellent track record of research and scholarship in the general field of education, with some very high profile scholars who have extensive research programs and publications within the field, both nationally and internationally, a very strongly connected faculty with research networks internationally. So it will certainly give you the opportunity to work with leading experts in their fields, both nationally and internationally.